ThegnThrand here, and I'm here with a very important shipment and a special box opening brought to you by Medieval Shoppe. We just got this in. It's some items that I've actually been waiting for a long time. They've been talking with me and corresponding with me back and forth from Medieval Shoppe about sending the actual swords to me. So yes, it's unusual to receive one so soon right after another box, because as you know, we have one we haven't even completed yet. I did a review with Adrian Paul on the sword experience at the RealmsCon in Corpus Christi, right here in Corpus Christi, Texas. And it took me a long time to get the actual video out, because I went to fighter practice the week after. I was still waiting on footage from them, and I threw my left shoulder out. And I actually did it in such a bad way when I was sparring that I wasn't able to even sit in front of the computer and edit. My good friend Brad Lynn over the holidays worked as fast and the best he could to try to edit it out for me, and he did a really good, exceptional job. If you want to go by and see that review, the sword experience with Adrian Paul from Highlander, the series and the movies, be sure to go by and check that out. If some of you have seen that video all the way through, you might get a little hint of what's in the box. You probably have an idea already, but if not, don't spoil it for anybody else. The reason I'm dressed like I am today, if you look at me, I have this piece of mail that I pulled out of the end of the box, because yes, I'm not going to lie to you, I started taking things apart early so I can get in the box quickly, so hopefully this opening doesn't take all day here. But I found this piece of mail and I threw it on my shoulder kind of as a hint or a wink at y'all, and I wore some bracers, and I'm wearing just a male vestment and kind of later century clothing. And kind of the reason I did that is I'm trying to give you a hint at what game that we have a sword in here. It's not a fantasy sword, it is a medieval sword that could have actually existed in Europe, but it's inspired by this game. So if you all want to put a comment down below, and I'm going to take this mail off so it doesn't fall off my shoulder. The mail is actually really nice. It's some of the or a little piece of example of the new mail from Medieval Shoppe. A lot of their new mail is totally riveted, like the entire mail. Every ring is riveted instead of having a solid ring every other row. But I would say from looking at it, they sent it to me to examine it and maybe possibly test if I wanted to, or use it for whatever I like. I would say this is just as strong, if not stronger, than some of the other mails they've sent me. It looks very, very well done. Very, very strong. Very, very historically accurate for pure riveted mail. I very much like it. Let's go ahead and bring up the other box. The other box, we tested the Gallowglass sword, the Irish two-hander, and it cut exceptionally well. It was lighter, so it didn't have some of the heft that the actual Scottish Claymore I used did, but it's understandable. It was about 4 pounds, and the Scottish Claymore that we tested was like 6.3 pounds. Quite a big difference in the weight and mass. Plus, it felt a lot better to use as well. It's a lot more wieldable. We also tested the classic medieval sword, which was a very heavy arming sword, one-handed sword, but very well balanced. And for the weight, it actually performed exceptionally well. I mean, I couldn't believe I didn't have to put much effort behind it, and the blade did all the work. Use proper technique with it. But I have the Thrand. The Thrand or the Thrand spearhead, and a lot of you might recognize it from some of the historical books that you see on Vikings. You'll see this one that has a unusual ball shape on it. The actual historical version has some silver inlay. This one doesn't have, but this is beautiful. It's a nice reproduction without the decoration, but it's so shiny and beautiful. Why would you need it? It's very well made, very good steel, and I'll be testing this out soon, so I hope you all enjoy the test video. If you want to see it first beyond something in the box, be sure and leave comments down below on this, and I'll try to work that in and get it out quickly. I even want to test this on the Japanese armor, because I plan on doing a destruction video. I think this spearhead with the longer shaft would have much better penetration capability. But also, speaking of penetration, we have our Austral axe, and if you look at it, it's very thick. From the side, it looks like a classic Viking axe, a smaller axe, head used one-handed. But from this view, it looks a lot like our bog axe from Novgorod. And it's very similar. It's very similar to a Francesca, and that's my theories that I'll be coming up with on Francesca and all axes with a really small head, is they were used for penetrating armor. They were used for armor penetration. There are drawbacks to that. You get stuck in shields easier and so on if you have to go through. But we've actually pierced a helmet with our bog axe, which I believe this axe could do the same sort of thing, and I plan on testing it extremely, not just against regular conventional targets like we do with the swords, like maybe a bare head, but we'll actually try this on some plate, maybe a helmet, maybe even the Japanese armor. Go ahead and vote if you want to see this axe next. It's possible you might want to see it. Alrighty, back to the box. I don't know if anybody's already commenting down below what kind of sword they think it is. Some of you may know if you did see the review, because I did kind of mention it at the end, that we'd received it, but I didn't actually have it opened yet from the box. So I do have it today. We've unpacked it, and I'm going to pull it out. So if y'all mention down below, let's see if y'all are right. Oh wow, it's more beautiful than I expected. I love the feel already, and it's still in the sheath. Wow, this is the Scottish longsword, basically. This is a longsword. Medieval Shoppe calls it a Scottish two-hander, inspired by the erudite sword from Witcher 3. So if y'all guessed Witcher 3, for me kind of dressed like this and saying I'm opening something based on a video game, you did well. This is based on the erudite, or the Gven'nel. Is it a Gven'nel or the Gven'nel? I think it's the Gven'nel, which I think it looks more like that one to me, but it's still a beautiful sword, and it's not any exact sword from Witcher 3 of the silver swords. They have silver swords, and if you know the lore, they were engraved in silver and magic to kill, basically kill the different bestiary and monsters in the game. So I guess to kill witches, vampires, and so on. But this is a beautiful blade. It feels like a classic longsword. I mean, I can see using this blade easily from ox. It would work very well, just like I used basically its little brother or little sister, whatever you want to consider. We tested the Scottish. Medieval sword, which was a one-hander or a hand-and-a-half sword. It's more like an arming sword with a little bit of an extra hilt if you want to grip it. This one gives you that full extra two-handed grip, so you can easily fight with this. No problems. It would be a piece of cake. Beautiful sword. Can't wait to test it out. If you want to see this blade first, which more than likely this will be the one you will see first out of this box, be sure and vote down below, and we'll get that going for you. Now, last but not least, and this one I've been saving to pull out of the box, this is the most unusual sword we have ever gotten at the ThegnThrand YouTube channel that I know of. This is one of the most unusual blades. This is a Khasi sword. It's from India. Kathy, am I pronouncing it right? Khasi? Khasi. Okay, Khasi sword. Excuse me if I didn't mean to offend anyone. But it's almost like a polearm. You have such a long hilt that it's kind of like using a naginata. If you look at how you would have to use it, unless you grip farther back, which you easily could grip it back here if you wanted to get more reach. You can grip it like you're using a polearm. You can grip it between these two and very easily use it in all sorts of manners. So I can see I'm going to have fun discovering it and seeing how it works best. But this is actually still used in ritual today in India. And if you look, it has an actual haman. It almost looks like a haman, the way they differentially hardened it and put it together. So I'd love to know a little more about the metallurgy of it. It's extremely sharp. It seems like it's very good steel, and it's all steel all the way through the construction. And like I said, what we have here is something that, I mean, it could be gripped in any way you need it at the time, but you have two guards for the hand, very much like Suba or something. It's very, very unique. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The only thing is on this one, we actually have a couple of people who are wanting to fund, including Medieval Shoppe, for me to get a pig carcass. If you would like to see that down below, pig carcass, hog carcass, maybe a deer or something, and see what we would do on actual flesh and bone instead of one of our analogs. Be sure and let me know down below, and I'm sure you want to see this one first, but like I said, it may take a while to actually get this one out because we want to have the proper mediums to do a full all-out test. We want it to be something epic because no one's actually tested one of these before that I know of on any YouTube channel or anywhere than I guess other it being an actual still being used for certain ceremonies and rituals. So I think it will be a lot of fun. It was used as a weapon in the medieval period, and possibly it's male, so maybe we'll even test against some male armor. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed our video today and us opening these blades from Medieval Shoppe. And like I said, you can pretty much leave any kind of comment you want down below, what you think about them, what you think about the video. I do have a weird feeling already from picking this up and just playing around with it and knowing what the other sword did, that is very much similar to it, the Scottish medieval sword from Medieval Shoppe, and this one being longer and an actual longsword version that can be used one or two-handed. I think it's going to be one of my new favorite longswords of all time, I swear. If it holds up well, and it seems like it will, if it does what the other one did and then some, that will be what I want. But as always, I'm glad you joined me for this episode. Farewell.